Hello and welcome to another What's Current podcast. And in this episode, we talk to Anne from Girl Power Electrical. Now, recently we were celebrating our women in engineering, and we want to celebrate Anne and her journey in the electrical world in this episode. So have a listen, have a watch, enjoy the podcast.
Tell you about myself.
About yourself?
Okay. I'm Anne and I run a company called Girl Power Electrical, which I've been running since about February this year.
What kind of day-to-day look like?
Day to day, get up. I like to get out of bed as late as possible, so I make my life quite hard. So if I have to be somewhere at 7:30, I get up at 7. So it's like throw stuff in the van, eat, leave the house. It varies. Some days I've got lots of little bits and bobs, so I'll nip around the village doing light swaps or extra sockets. Some days I'll have, like the next couple of days, I've got a partial rewire. Someone's built a little extension on the front of their house, so I'll be slogging it away, changing the board and rewiring that. And at the minute, getting in about 5 o'clock, doing lots of paperwork. I've not quite got the balance on that at the minute. I think it's easy to think, oh, I can work 5 days. And then you forget that when you normally work 5 days, you finish work at 5 o'clock, but you get in and then you've got invoicing, ordering, paperwork, test certs. So at the minute, it's looking like, turn my computer off quite late at night.
You need to get one of the kids an apprentice.
I know, yeah.
Role.
I just need to do a bit less. I'm not very good at saying no to people. Like, oh, I really need this doing. And, it's not your problem. But, like, the appeaser in me is like, oh, OK, I'll just squeeze you in at 7 tomorrow night then. And I need to get a lot better at just saying no to people, I think.
I think that'll come with time, won't it? Especially if it's, February? Yeah. So it's still fairly new, isn't it? Trying to find that balance.
Yeah.
Well, though, you're getting some weekends to yourself.
Yeah, I know. Well, I didn't for the first month. I just didn't, and I thought I was hitting burnout really quickly. I thought I'm going to end up hating my job, and I don't want to hate my job. I do this because I like doing it, not because I have to do it. So,
did you work for a company before then?
Yeah, I worked for a company with the other ones. I know. they were with the other ones, but they were, I guess, a fairly big company.
Yeah.
So there were about 12 of us out on the tools, and they did a lot of commercial and domestic. So yeah.
How long were you with them? Did you do your training and that with them?
I did my MVQ with them. So when did I start? About a year and a half I was with them.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, got qualified and left, which I almost feel bad about, but not really.
Yeah. You've got to do what's right for yourself, haven't you?
Yeah.
So why electrician? What was the appeal?
I think my youngest was going up to secondary school, and like a lot of mums, I had my eldest daughter really quite young at 18, so every job I've worked has always fit around childcare. So I had her, and then 7 years later I had another one, and then another one, and then I ended up with 3 children. You suddenly think, oh well, I'll work this job because the hours are flexible, and I've never really thought, what do I want to do? So my youngest going up to secondary school was a bit of a catalyst, and I thought, okay, what do I want to do? I thought, well, what am I good at? And I thought, I love making stuff, and I know I'm good with my hands, and because I'm a little bit older, I know enough about myself to know that I can't sit behind a desk.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, what do I want to do? And my other half actually said, well, why don't you do a trade? Because I think you'd be really well suited to it. You're good with maths, you're good with your hands, you're really organised. I don't know why he thinks that, because I'm not. But he thinks I'm really organised compared to him. And I thought, oh yeah. And actually electrics, it sounds a bit pathetic, but I looked at gas and electric and thought, going into it at 35, I'm not 16. Do I want to be lifting boilers on a wall in 10 years' time? And I thought, I actually don't. I don't know if I'll be able to, or you just don't know what your health will do to you in your 40s or 50s. And I thought, I'll give electrics a go.
Oh, nice.
And realised really quickly that I really enjoyed it, which was good, yeah.
Oh, I like that. So
I didn't do my MVQ as an apprenticeship though. I did a couple of years of college.
How did you?
So I don't know if you've ever spoke to anyone trying to get an apprenticeship as an adult, but they're hard to come by anyway because there's not enough apprenticeships. But going in as an adult, they have to pay you a higher wage than if you're 16. So they are quite literally impossible to get unless you know somebody that knows somebody. So I had to do 2 years of evening college at Leicester College to do my level 2 and level 3, and then got a job and then paid to do my MVQ. Wow. So you have to self-fund then, which, it motivates you to get it done because you're paying for it. You're not like, oh, I'll just see how it goes.
Yeah. Did you find when you were studying there was any barriers for the female?
No, not really. No.
Quite nice.
I think there were two girls actually in our class, and we were immediately both much smarter than all the boys, which was really funny. So I think like any doubts they might have initially had went really quickly, and then like it was me and another girl, Helena. They're like, Anne, Helena, can you help us with this? So
I love that. Any key milestones or achievements in your career that you're particularly proud of?
I think I'm actually proud of all of it, which is a bit cliche,
it's nice.
but it's not been easy from the outset. I look at it now and think, God, I wish I'd done this at 16, because going into it as an adult with financial responsibilities and 3 children, you're like, it's so hard trying to balance everything and get all the experience, and actually finding the time for like evening college and studying. And every time I got past one hurdle, I'm like, oh, I finished my level 3 and now, I can relax. And it was like, oh, but I've got an MVQ to start, and you've got all the paperwork, and you've got like revision and AM2 to prep for, and it's a lot all the time. So actually every time I got to the end of something, I was like, oh, I can't believe I did that. And like, I've actually done it. So it's like I said, it's probably for a lot of people not that big an achievement just to get through a qualification, but
oh God, no.
It was insanely stressful.
I can imagine.
I can look back now and be like, remember when I nearly went mad? I did actually, nearly go mad. I was at burnout for a very long time with it, and so just actually getting to the end of it and getting my gold card, I think I got that and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like that felt like the big did it hurdle, and
that. So that's really, you kind of covered what challenges and obstacles with, like you say, financial responsibilities with family. And
I know the kids went to Latchkey Kids like overnight, which was a bit hard for them, I think, because I've been home so much. I used to work school hours and got 2 days off in the week. I was very lazy. And then I was like, oh, by the way, I'm not going to be home till 7. And like the kids are like 11 and 13, I guess, at the time. And suddenly they were walking themselves to school and walking themselves back, and I'm having to ring going, can you put a pizza in the oven? Like my 14-year-old's like, I don't know how to work the oven. So actually, I think for all of us, it's been, quite a challenge, but come through the other side.
Do you get a lot of female customers?
Yes.
I was just wondering
I get a lot of female customers, but I also get a lot of couples where the female is the one that obviously organised the house.
Yeah.
So they'll contact me. So I'll work for a lot of couples, but when the women are in charge mostly.
Who's
in charge by default. Yeah. I've got a friend that's a gas engineer, and she worked for Baxi, and she'd go out to customers' houses and they talked to her apprentice. She was like, I'm in charge.
I know more than he does.
Which is quite funny. Well, sometimes I bring my other half with me as apprentice of the day, and he's a kitchen fitter, so he's not an electrician, but he knows enough about electrics. And even though they know they've hired me and I've brought him as help, they still talk to him, which I find really bizarre. He's like, don't ask me, ask Anne. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah. It is that thing though, isn't it? There's a woman who, she works for Formula One, but when her car goes into the garage, they're like, is her husband available? Or like,
she doesn't know. Yeah.
She's got a male friend with her, they're the one explaining the car. And, Formula One driver. Know all about cars.
I think it's just a default setting at the minute. A lot of the guys at the college that I went to, so I went to Leicester College, and the guys that run the evening courses and one of the guys that actually helped run the whole electrical department at Leicester College were really supportive. He put me forward for a few like little competitions, and they were just, I think it was a bit novel for them having a couple of girls on the course. And I think they quite enjoyed the change. And they were all really supportive, definitely pushed me when I thought I couldn't do stuff. There were a lot of things that one of the main guys signed me up for World Skills. Because he rang me and said, do you want to do the World Skills? And I was like, oh, no, thank you. And then he rang me back and was like, so I've signed you up for it. And at the time, I was really annoyed. And I was like, how rude. But, and I didn't prep for it all because I thought, I don't want to do it. It's too much. But I went and I did it and I enjoyed it. And I think every time you do something like that and someone says you can do it, even when you think you can't do it, it pushes you to a point where next time I do actually stop and think, oh, I feel like I can't do this. But think of all those times you thought you couldn't do something. So for that, definitely really grateful.
Knocking some limited beliefs down.
Yeah. I pop in and see him sometimes, waltzing like I work there. It's really funny, and I'm like, what are you doing here?
I like that though. You need people like that though, someone that sees that in you. I think. Especially if, like, say, your confidence is a little...
Well, I think they definitely had more confidence in me than I did for quite a long time, and probably without that, I'd have buried my head in the sand and given up a bit. So
what do you think gave you the confidence to go alone?
Actually, it was a bit more of a necessity than than a desire, because it is hugely stressful. I think there's something to be said for waking up and going and being told what to do for 8 hours and then going home. But I'd been working on a commercial project in Newark, which is about 40 minutes from here. And I was basically out the door 6 till 6. We'd been on it about 3 months. And it was winter. And I hadn't seen the kids, and I hadn't seen daylight for about 3 months. You know, you drive in the dark and you come home in the dark. And I think I was just a bit actually quite depressed with it. And I thought, this isn't what I want. I don't want a life where I can't take a day off if the weather's nice, or I can't pick and choose when I work.
Yeah.
And I think the kids were a bit miserable with not seeing me, and I thought something needs to change. And actually, there isn't much in the way of flexible working in this industry. If you want flexibility, you've got to go on your own. So that, definitely gave me the push. It's not sure it's working out like that yet, because I'm still out the door. But sometimes I like go to a job, then I come home for a cup of tea, and I think, oh yeah, that's okay. Yeah. And I go back out. But
I suppose the important thing is if something with the children, if you need, it's your choice now. Like,
yeah, well, my old workplace
on the weekend instead or something. But
well, I've been quite lucky in that. So touch wood, I've not been sick yet, and Dave's not been sick. But at my old work, obviously they're quite a big team, and I think the bigger the team is, the less personal it is. So I'd ring up once a while and go, I need, I don't know, Friday afternoon, instead of finishing at 4:30, can I finish at 3:00? I've got, my youngest had like a special needs meeting to move up to secondary school. And they were like, oh, well, not really. If we give it you off, you'll have to come in on Saturday and make up the time. And that lack of flexibility, I think, for working parents. And I don't know if that's the same across the board for guys, or they don't get that burden, but it actually isn't sustainable. And I thought overall, I never took a sick day, never took a day off with the kids, but I was quite lucky. And I remember thinking, what if they were ill? Or what if like my youngest has a meltdown and can't go to school? Or like...
No understanding.
None at all. And I've not got anyone like, their dad's at work and we don't live together. So I'm like, well, what would I even do? And then I think that actually adds to a lot of anxiety about work, because you feel so backed in a corner.
Yeah. I wonder if that's quite a common thing across the industry. There is, because there's not that many women.
I can't imagine
mums tend to take the brunt of
emotional burden of
that
it.
stuff, don't they?
I can't imagine it's very easy for working mums at all. I think a lot of the women I know that work in this industry haven't got children. In fact, all of them. I can't think of any that have got a child, because it isn't geared up for that. You can't say, oh, well, I'm due on site at 7, but actually, can I come in 2 hours late? I've got a school play.
Yeah.
Or, or like my youngest just been sick, or there isn't that flexibility. And I don't really know how you get around it, because normally you're part of a bigger picture and there is a responsibility to turn up. But it's, like you said, it's a burden that if you're a guy, you probably haven't got. Yeah. You ring your wife and go, oh, the kids are sick, I'm going to go to work. Yeah. And the expectation is that you pick it up, and
like
it is hard to juggle.
Jobs of a woman, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or a mum. So we're kind of at the end of it, to be honest. So how do you think the industry is changing for women?
I think we're better represented. I think there's been a big push. I've seen a big push lately online, and you see more and more women advertising, more and more women. I guess like the rise of Instagram and places like that, it feels like there's quite a big community now and a network of women. And I think people see that. And if it's something you're interested in doing, so if I was starting out again, I went onto Instagram and I put in like hashtag female electrician, you get loads of accounts and you find loads of people training, and it suddenly doesn't feel like you're going into it on your own. And I actually think representation is going to be biggest change. I don't think you can force change in an industry, but I think the more you see, I guess it's how representation works across the board. Yeah. The more you see, the more normal it becomes. I get less guys doing a double take when I walk into their house. Yeah. I used to get loads of that. Oh, I've never seen a female electrician. I was like, oh, okay. And you get less of that. Because I guess once you've seen one, then you go, oh, of course there's female electricians. But people, up until that point, it hadn't even occurred to them that there would be, which is just bizarre.
Yeah.
And then they'll go, oh, of course, well, why wouldn't there be? But they've never had to think that. So they've never expected it. Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. There is quite a lot now, isn't there? We've got quite a lot of female electricians now. And they are quite, I think because it has been quite novel, they've grown. So is there any advice you would give other women? But I suppose you kind of said about start young.
Start young.
With no responsibility.
Yeah, I think if you wait until you feel confident and ready, you'll probably never do it. I think there are a lot of days I still wake up and get massive imposter syndrome, most days. And yeah, I think if you wait and think, oh, well, so-and-so's better than me, or maybe I'm not smart enough or strong enough, or maybe the time's not right, just do it now.
So thank you everyone for listening or watching this episode. I hope you enjoyed the podcast and listening to Anne and her journey in the electrical industry. So look out for future episodes and stay safe, stay grounded and keep the current flowing.